Hey guys, Ivan here, and in today's video we got a couple of very interesting bodybuilding updates. The first one is a physique update from Shaun Clarida and his starting point of this Arnold Classic prep. Now, Shaun Clarida apparently did not have a health phase, right? I mean, he competed at the Prague Pro, he made some solid progress between the Mr. Olympia and the Prague Pro, and Prague Pro was 4 weeks ago, so if there was a health phase in the meantime, it was a rather short one. So I don't know what he did exactly, but I'm pretty sure he didn't do that because he did lose a lot of tissue in his Mr. Olympia prep, so he needs to bring it back. So he doesn't have any time to waste, and he's going against some really big boys at the Arnold Classic. By the way, as far as Keon's health phase, Patrick Tour sent me a DM, and also Keon's fiance left a comment in that previous video of mine. And by the way, she's a fan of the channel, which is always cool to hear. And I know that Keon is watching as well. He's leaving comments from time to time. Anyways, they both explained, Keon's coach and his fiance, that he's actually on a true TRT, only 175 milligrams of testosterone per week and only 2 IUs of GH. But Patrick went into more detail. He basically explained that they started with more and they gradually tapered it down to the TRT. He actually did some HCG and Clomid as well, and then now he's on TRT, which is maintaining his testosterone level basically in a healthy range. So less than I expected for sure. But again, they tapered it down, so he was definitely on more previously. That's why he looks this good. But he's going to stay on TRT for another month. We'll see what he's going to look like in another month. But I'm pretty sure he's going to maintain this sort of look, which is a great look for sure. Now, back to Shaun Clarida. Again, there was no time for him to do a health phase. Maybe in these last 4 weeks he tapered down, maybe he went a little bit lower and now he's going to start blasting, but I doubt that, honestly, because again, he needs to put on the size back. Not grow new tissue, but just let his body, let his muscle memory kick in so he can bring back the size he lost. And I think he did a good job with that. Also, his conditioning is looking very good. He has the hardness and everything. And he says, his coach says that it's time to start. That's his starting point. And he is 188 here, which is a great weight for him. If he can be like around 180 on stage with conditioning, and this is basically almost stage conditioning, and I'm sure he will make more progress. So I think like around 180 is very reasonable, maybe more than that, maybe 185, maybe even 190. I mean, that number sounds very low, but for somebody of his height, I think he's like 5'2". For that height, that's big, right? Now, Shaun, he's definitely not one of the guys who are expected to win this show. There is no chance, even if he is better than ever, even if he is the best conditioned guy on that stage, the most complete guy, the most balanced guy, whatever, they will not give it to him if there are guys like Samson Dauda, Derek Lunsford, Andrew Jacked. But if he can manage to crack the top 5, that would be an amazing achievement, and I think that's fairly possible. Like, I don't see him beating, again, Samson, Derek, Andrew, Brandon Curry. But the others, I mean, anything is possible. And that is basically, I think, the most you can hope for. Top 5, I don't see him placing inside of the top 4. Top 5 is probably the best case scenario for Shaun Clarida. I don't see him beating Brandon Curry. But again, top 5 is a great result. It would be crazy if he did that. I think it's possible. I'm not going to bet on it, but I think it's very possible. I can definitely see him beating Patrick Moore. I think he did that in the past. Justin Rodriguez for sure, that's going to be easy. Now, as far as Carlos Thomas Jr., that's going to be a little bit difficult, but I can see him potentially beating Carlos if Carlos doesn't bring great conditioning, which he pretty much never did so far. And also Carlos has a really weak back, and Shaun's back is amazing, so I can see him beating Carlos. As far as John De La Rosa, that's going to be a very difficult task, but it's possible. William Bonek, I don't know about that. I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. Most likely not, but there is a possibility. James Hollingshead also very difficult. Akeem Williams, I don't know. It's going to be very, very difficult task for Shaun to crack the top 5. I can see him beating 2 guys at least for sure. But other than that, I can see him potentially beating all of those guys except for the top 4 guys. But it's going to be an extremely difficult task. So if he can do that, if he can actually crack the top 5, that would be a crazy achievement, guys. What do you think? Do you think he can do it? Tell me down below. Alright, next up, we got a physique update from Hunter Labrada, and it's been a while since we saw anything from this guy. He kind of went MIA after the Mr. Olympia, so I'm assuming, and based on his look, I think he probably, I don't want to overuse the phrase health phase, but I'm pretty sure he took it easy for a while there. Because he looks a little bit softer, a little bit smaller. Here is the physique update from a week ago. So, yeah, sure, he's great, he's big, he's massive, his conditioning is good and everything like that, but he is not exactly as impressive as he is when he's prepping or when he's full deep into his off-season. And he actually wrote in the caption of this post that he's back to training 4 times a week. What does that mean? Was he training 5 or 6 times a week before that? No. He probably trained 2 or 3 times. He probably wasn't super focused on pushing the food, on pushing the gear. So I'm assuming he did have sort of a health phase or something like that. And now his starting point. Now he's starting his off season. His starting point is great for sure. What's he planning on doing? We don't know yet, but he's usually doing those later shows right before the Mr. Olympia, so that's probably the plan this year as well. I don't know, as of right now, he never announced that he's doing shows like Pittsburgh or, I don't know, potentially Arnold Classic. I don't think he's prepping, so I think he's going to probably do one of the later shows in the year. Again, his starting point right now is good, nothing crazy here, but he is definitely one of the top guys in the world, and if he makes some more progress, gets in better conditioning next year, and controls his midsection better, he can still be one of the top 5 Olympians, for sure. And we also got a little physique update from Nick Walker, who is showing us his leg progress. Now, Nick Walker, he also had a sort of a health phase because his gear was fake during his Mr. Olympia prep. And I guess that you can count that as health phase, but now he's working with his new coach, Kyle Wilkes, and they're focused on improving his physique as much as possible because Nick's plan is once he steps on the stage back again, he doesn't want to be his usual self. He doesn't want to get away with a victory. He wants to be super impressive. He wants to really impress the people because people are really disappointed in Nick. He skipped the Mr. Olympia 2 times in a row now, and the next time he steps on stage, he wants to be a freak, something new, something we haven't seen so far. How can he accomplish that? Well, there are a couple of things. One thing, in my opinion, the most important thing is, of course, controlling the midsection, trying to make it as small as possible. And, of course, the other thing is improving the legs. And here you can see what his quads are looking like. And he's not hitting a bodybuilding pose, he's just flexing the quads right there, probably after a leg session, as he says in the caption. So it's with a pump. You don't see a lot of striations, but you can see that the legs are looking pretty big, the quads are popping out nicely. He will never have massive, round, super big legs because his insertions and his skeletal structure won't allow him to ever achieve that, but he can do what he can do with what he's got, and I think he's doing a great job with the limitations that he has. And I think he was, I don't think he was ever this focused in the past couple of years as he is right now, because now he has something to prove. Now he's again sort of a underdog. People are kind of doubting him, they're hating on him, they are saying that he will never be as good as he was, place as good as he placed. He was top 3 at the Mr. Olympia, top 5 the year before that, he won the Arnold Classic, so he needs to prove everybody wrong, and I think that's lighting a fire under him. So I think he's working harder than ever, and I think we're gonna see some improvements in his physique. But I also said it before, and I'm gonna say it again, I don't know, with Nick and his structure, I feel like potentially, probably his best days are behind him, because when you don't have the prettiest structure, as you get older, his flaws in shape and structure are gonna start to show more. So I don't think he's gonna ever be as good as he was, for example, when he took that third at the Mr. Olympia or when he won the Arnold Classic. I don't think we'll ever see that clean of a look. But if he gets bigger, even more freaky, improves maybe the size of the legs, controls the midsection better than ever, maybe learns how to do a vacuum, or not a vacuum, not a real vacuum like classic physique vacuum, but if he can just learn how to keep that stomach tucked in, kind of what Hari Chopin is doing basically in all of the poses and all the transitions. If he learns how to do that, if he's a true professional, he actually puts the work in and he does that, he learns that, and he puts on some tissue on the legs and he comes in super, super ripped, which he can do with his size, the judges will have a hard time ignoring him, and the fans as well. So I have high hopes for Nick for the next year. We'll see how he's gonna do, but as you can see, I think the progress in the legs is starting to show slowly. Anyways, guys, whatever your thoughts are, tell me down below in the comment section. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. For more content like this, guys, stay tuned, subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon, all the best, and bye-bye.